show. Happiness is an art, just like culture, just like sophistication. It's not out of the reach of anybody. Poor people, people of modest means can become cultured and sophisticated. Because it's not an amount, it's not an account. Rich doesn't do it for you. It's a study. I know a guy that's rich. He's a clod. The guy eats with his elbow in his soup. I mean, he's just a clod. Nothing much more pitiful than a rich clod. How sad. But how much is a book on sophistication in the marketplace? $40,000. No, $40. Everything's within everybody's reach in America. And in the library, it doesn't cost $40. It's free for the asking if you bypass happy hour and head for the library. If you want your life changed. Culture, sophistication is within reach of all of us. Happiness is within reach of all of us. But here's the clue. Happiness must be woven, like weaving a tapestry. If you want a happy birthday, you got to weave it. A happy birthday is not just accidental, it's woven. With care. A good evening is woven with care. The good life is woven, an experience is woven, like weaving a tapestry, if you're interested. Happiness is not a hope. It's a plan, it's an art. It's a learned art, and anybody that wants to can learn it. Happiness. One of my friends had a birthday party, Beverly Hills. His wife wove that party so carefully, it was one of the most extraordinary events I've ever attended. Everybody that was there will remember this birthday party for the rest of their lives. Why? It was so well woven. 10 o'clock at night, guy says, oh my gosh, this is my wife and I's anniversary. He heads for the drugstore, pick up some trinket. Not woven well. Come on. If you want a good weekend, you've got to weave it. Don't just hope it'll happen by accident and that you'll have some happiness. No, happiness is an art. It's an art form. And anybody that wants to can study it and practice it until you get so good at it, you can dazzle. Any father who wants to can dazzle his family with his present resources. You don't need any more resources. You just need to learn how to weave and not leave it to chance. Guy gets home, says, give me a beer, turn on the television, let's get happy. No, 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 no. Weave it carefully with your own hands. Put your own heart and soul into it. Now, sure, when you get more money, you can go more places, but it doesn't make you any happier. Happiness is a separate art from travel. Happiness is separate from anything else. Happiness is separate from economics. Happiness must be carefully woven on its own. Sure, I get to fly the Concorde now. You can get there faster, but you can't be any happier. You got to weave that. It is exciting, though, to get from, London to New York in 3 hours. And you meet some interesting people on the Concorde. My last flight, for the second time, I met Christopher Reeves, Superman. I said to my business partner, we're going to be okay. Superman's on this plane. Right, how lucky can you get? I met Henry on the Concorde. Henry Kissinger. Henry said to me, I've had an interesting day today. I said, what? Henry said, I had breakfast this morning in Paris, and he said, I just finished lunch here in London, and he said, tonight in New York, I'm having dinner with my friends, with time to spare. You can only do that if you fly the Concorde. Breakfast in Paris, lunch in London, and dinner in New York. If you fly the Concorde, you can see 2 sunsets in one day. If you're in London and watch the sun go down, when you get to New York, you get to watch it go down again. 2 sunsets one day. But hey, until you can get to 2 sunsets, what are you doing about one? In the Leadership Weekend, we take this subject by itself and expand it. Here's a clue, how to be happy with what you've got while you pursue what you want. You don't have to postpone your happiness because all that has to be done is woven with care. Don't miss the play we teach in the weekend. Don't miss the experience. Don't miss the extravaganza. Don't miss the book. Don't miss the game. Don't miss the symphony. Don't miss the play. Don't miss the movie. Save by value. Don't waste your time on things that don't count. Save up. Have an experience. Weave your happiness with care. And you can have all the lifestyle you can possibly handle for a lifetime if you will take this as seriously as you take anything else. Help a child to weave their own happiness. Don't leave them discouraged. Don't leave them in the dark. Don't leave them wishing for better days. Don't leave them wishing for better experiences. Take whatever you've got and fashion. If you've got pennies, fashion it with pennies. If you've got time, just fashion it with time. Whatever you've got with your own hands and your own mind. Study and practice the art of weaving your and your family's happiness. Don't leave it to the winds of chance and change. Okay. That is the 5 major pieces to the life puzzle. I hope it's been valuable. Okay, have you got all this? I got a couple more subjects to cover. It's too late now. Anyway, I'm sure you've got a better set of notes than I have, so. Now, before we take our afternoon stretch, let me cover a couple of subjects here rather quickly, because we cover them in detail. Much more in detail on that next seminar, and really much in detail on the 2-day weekend. By the way, if you don't get a chance to come to the 2-day weekend, remember, it's on those cassettes, Volume 1 and Volume 2. Some good stuff in there. And these 2 subjects are in there in more detail. But let me give you the highlights here to ponder and think about when you go home today. The first subject is personal development. Personal development is the challenge to see what you can become. And Show started me with the challenge to see what I could become with that promise. Age 25, Mr. Rohn, if you will change, everything will change for you. I started that process at age 25. Now, I also want to tie personal development with setting goals. In the weekend leadership, we have what we call the Goals Workshop. It's called Designing the Next 10 Years. I'm telling you, you'll come out of it mind-weary because it's a hard workshop. It's tough. But you can't believe what you'll have out of that workshop, designing the next 10 years. But now let me just give you some highlights on personal development and setting goals. In teaching kids personal development, I start with money. Now, you can start anywhere. Show started with money with me. His first question was what? How much money have you saved, Mr. Rohn, and invested the last 10 years? Now, you don't have to start with money on teaching personal development, but in talking to kids especially, I start with money. Because you got to start somewhere. And it doesn't really matter where you start to find out if you're on track or off track. It doesn't matter where you start. And I start with money. Because number 1, kids are interested in money. And number 2, it's easy to count. Say, how are you doing? Say, I don't know, let's count. Now, I know that money is not the only count. I understand that. But if this doesn't count well, we better check your cardiovascular. If you don't have the disciplines to make this work well, you probably don't have the disciplines to make your heart work well, or to make your family work well, or to make your marriage work well, or to make your enterprise work well. One lack of discipline shows us we better look everywhere. And so I start with money. And it's one of the most intriguing ways to teach personal development, to kids especially, is to start with money. Here's what I teach kids. We get paid. Kids are all interested in getting paid, so here's what I teach them. We get paid for bringing value to the marketplace. That's about as simple an economic strategy as I can put to you. We get paid for bringing value to the marketplace. Now, it takes time. That's true. It takes time to bring value to the marketplace, but we don't get paid for time. Just put an X there. It takes time, but we don't get paid for time. Mistakenly, the man says, I'm making about $20 for an hour. Not true. If that was true, you could just stay home, have him send your money. No. We pay you not for the hour. We pay you for what? The value. We pay you for the value you put in an hour. Now, since that's true, here's one of the most important questions of the afternoon. Is it possible to become twice as valuable as you are right now and make twice as much money in the same time? Is that possible? Of course. That's a good way to emphasize something I like. Of course. Right? Title of my new book. Of course. Is it possible to become 3 times as valuable as you are right now and in the marketplace make 3 times as much money in the same time?
Of course.
Got me a few more converts here. Could you become 10 times more valuable than you are right now to the marketplace and make 10 times as much money in the same time? Of course. If you're interested. Now, I'm telling you, a lot of people aren't interested. Mr. Schoaf gave me the clue, and I'm going to give you one of the most incredible clues I've given you all day long. Schoaf said, it's very simple, Mr. Rohn. Here's all you have to do. Work harder. Work harder on yourself than you do on your job. Wow, that phrase changed my life. If you would have known me at age 25, here's what you would have said. Mr. Rohn's a hard worker. Yes, I was a hard worker on my job. And what did that get me? A living. It got me a living. Schoaf said, now, Mr. Rohn, the next years of your life, what I will teach you is how to go to work, not just on your job. I'll teach you how to go to work on yourself and make yourself much more valuable to the marketplace. And he said, you won't believe the change in income. You won't believe the change in promotion. You won't believe the change in fortune. He said, you can have all you want because you can work on yourself as much as you want. He said, here's the secret. Work harder on yourself than you do on your job. If you work hard on your job, you'll make a living. If you work hard on yourself, you can make a fortune. I invite you on such a journey. Now, here's the next part. Personal development not just for economics. Personal development for your family. Personal development for your contribution to the country. The best contribution you can make to someone else is your own personal development. Become better than you are and stronger than you are and wiser than you are and more skilled than you are and more disciplined than you are. Think of what a treasure that will be for your wife and for your husband and for your children and for your family. Personal development is the best contribution you can make. Unique things said about God. Unique things said about God. One writer said this. His arm is not short. What a simple set of words to give us an incredible picture. Be reassured what? God's arm is not short. You cannot think of anything more pitiful than a God with a short arm. So short couldn't what? Reach all the way. So short what? Couldn't reach everybody. This writer said, no, no, no. You do not have to worry about that. God's arm is not short. Not only can He reach all the way, He can reach everybody. What an incredible thing to be able to say about God. Shouldn't we be able to say that about every father? His arm is what? Not short. He can reach all of His children. His arm is not short. He can reach all the way. He's got a library second to none. He's got stories to illustrate any point He wants to. He's not short on reach. Allstate Insurance says it well, what? You're in good hands. Shouldn't that be well said of everybody? They've got good hands. Don't worry about the kids that go to this school. With the teacher they've got in that school, those kids are in good hands, hopefully. Don't worry about the kids that belong to this family. With those kind of parents, these kids are in good hands. Don't the rest of the countries of the world say, don't worry about Americans. With the people they've elected to office, they're in. Here's what I'm asking you to do. Strive to develop the best hands you can develop. Hands that can touch, hands that can comfort, hands that can weave lifestyle second to none. Develop a long reach and a long arm. Guess what all this is called? Personal development. Personal growth. Becoming better than you are. And now here's the ultimate. We talk more about this on the weekend, but here is the ultimate. Don't settle for less than you can be. If you can be richer than you are, don't settle for less. If you can be stronger than you are, don't settle for less. If you can be more well-read than you are, don't settle for less. If you can develop more skills than you've got, don't settle for less. Strive. Strive. One ancient script says, strive for perfection. It doesn't mean you may ever reach it, but the striving is what's important. Why? To be better this year than you were last year. To be better with the vocabulary this year than last year, words of language that have power this year versus empty words last year. I'm asking you to become better than you are step by step, day by day, year by year, book by book, treasure by treasure. Personal development. Now, one more subject here, setting goals, and then we're going to take a stretch. Isn't this good stuff? I'm telling you, this kind of talking changed my life at age 25. I've never been the same. Since I got this put in such simple form, a farm boy from Idaho could understand it without pyramids and crystals. Now, here's the last subject before we take our break. Setting goals. Setting goals is a very simple practice. Mr. Shope taught me when I was 25. Revolutionized my life, learning how to set goals. Here's how simple goal setting is. Now, forget all the silly stuff on goals. You don't need to visualize. You don't need to anchor. You don't need to focus. That's all too silly. Kids can't learn that. The stuff I want, make it so simple, kids can learn it. Anybody can understand it. The teenagers can get it. I figure I've got it made. Here's how easy it is to set goals. Number one, decide what you want. Take a little time and a little thought. Decide what you want. Where do you want to go? What do you want to do? What do you want to be? What do you want to see? What do you want to have? What kind of health do you want in the next 5 years? The people you want to meet. Where do you want to go? What kind of experiences would you like to have? What kind of promotions do you want? What kind of income do you want? Just take a little thought sometime. Make a little list. What do you want? Sit down with your wife. What do we want? Sit down with the family. What do we all want? What do we each want? What do we all want? Sit down with your business colleagues. Say, where are we going? What do we want? A little exercise here. Decide what you want. Here's the next key. Write it down. Just make a list. Here's the health goals I want. Here's what I want to give away. Here's the projects I want to support. Here's the things I want to own. Here's the properties. Here's the income. Here's the promotions. Here's my benevolence. Here's all the stuff. This is it. Number one, decide what you want. Number two, write it down. Here's number three. Keep the old lists. Because you're going to constantly make new lists and keep the old lists. Here's why. To see how you've grown. One of the best ways to see your own personal development and your own personal growth is to keep the old list of goals while you're making new lists. I look back now on goals I set 10 years ago, I smile. Here's what I thought was so important 10 years ago. I'm telling you, it isn't even in first place anymore. It's way down the list. Here's what's important to me now. My priorities have changed. Why? I've become better educated in the last 10 years than I was 10 years ago, and my goal lists prove it. So, number three is keep the old list. I go back 20 years ago, list of goals, say, my gosh, here's what I thought would really do it for me. And I smile. Wow. I was in the first grade back here, guys. So if you got that number three, keep the old list. Now here's number four. When you get something on your list, check it off. When I went to Spain for the first time, landed in Madrid, when the wheels touched the runway, I happened to have that journal because I keep my goal list in my journal. I happened to have that journal that had that list of goals. Go to Spain. When the wheels touched the runway, I checked it off. Got it. Now guess what else I've learned to do? Put a whole lot of little things on my list so I get to check off something every day. Got it. And that's it. That's the simple art of setting goals. Now put serious things on your goal list. Important things, frivolous things, little things, special things. Doesn't matter what it is. It's your list. On my first list of goals, I had some revenge on my first list. Some of the people who said I couldn't do it, they went on my list. Budget finance, who threatened to come get my car, drag it rear end down the street in front of my neighbors. They went on my list. Budget finance. Some revenge. So it doesn't matter as long as it's important to you. Put it on your list. Might be frivolous to someone else, but not to you. My Japanese friend, Toro Ikeda, up in San Jose, put on his first list. A Caucasian gardener. Wow. I like that. That's how simple it is. Now, interestingly enough, here's a little simple story. Shoaff said, now, Mr. Rohn, now that I'm teaching you how to set goals, he said, just as a favor to me, he said, here's a pretty good goal I think you ought to put on your first list. He said, why don't you put on your list to become a millionaire? He said, hey, it's got a nice ring to it. Enough zeros to impress any accountant. A millionaire. He said, I'm here to help you. And he said, here's why I think you ought to put on your list goal to become a millionaire. He said, here's why. And I thought, well, he doesn't need to teach me why. I thought, wouldn't it be nice to have $1 million? He said, no, then you'll miss it. He said, here's why. For what it will make of you to achieve it. And I'll give you time to jot that down because it's one of the best I've got for the whole day. Shoaff said, set a goal to become a millionaire for what it will make of you to achieve it. Once that refinement of philosophy burst on my consciousness, it changed my whole life. Then Shoaff said, once you become a millionaire now, what's important is not the money. You could give that away. Now, I had a lot more to learn there, too. He said, no, you could just give it away. Now, I did better than that. I lost it all. By the time I was 31, I was a millionaire. By the time I'm 33, I'm broke. I go into more details now in the next seminar on financial independence. Some foolish things I did, I'm telling you. Farm boy from Idaho, I went crazy with that first money. I used to say, how many colors does it come in? I'll buy them all. Foolish. And some bad business judgments. I'll tell you more about that on financial independence. But I lost it all. But guess what? Shoaff was right. Here's what he said. Why? If you become a millionaire, you could give away the money because he said, here's what's important. What's important is not the money. He said, what's important is the person you have become. To be worth $1 million. The skills you've learned. What you now know about the marketplace and people. What you know now about decision making. What you know now about economics, personality. What you know now about the move of the marketplace and the economy. What you know. What you know now, Mr. Rohn, is what's so valuable. The person you've become, that's what's valuable. What's valuable in life is not what you get. What's valuable in life is what you become. The major question to ask on the job is not, what am I getting here? The major question to ask on the job is, what am I becoming here? Because the value to yourself and to your family is not what you possess. The value is what you become. But now here's the key on setting goals in personal development. Here it is. For your notes. Set the kind of goals that will make something of you to achieve them. Set the kind of goals that will make something of you to achieve them. Set the kind of goals that will make you reach, make you stretch, make you read, make you change, make you grow. In leadership training we teach, don't join an easy crowd, you won't grow. Go where the expectations are high. Go where the pressure's on. Go where the push is on. Make you scramble, make you change, get up early, stay up late, pour it on, read the books, challenge yourself, learn the skills. So set the kind of goals that'll make something of you. Now this also comes in two parts. Here's the first one. Don't set them too low. Not too low. So you don't have to read, don't have to change, don't have to stretch. The guy says, well, I don't need much. Well, then you don't need to become much. Now, here's the second part. Don't sell out for something you think you want. Don't sell out your virtue and your value. That would be a mistake. One ancient script says, what if you went for the whole world and lost your soul? Would that be a valuable trade? And the answer is no. It's called disaster of the worst kind. Sell out your soul, even if you got the whole world. What a disastrous trade that would be. Don't sell out. There's an ancient story that says Judas got the money. 30 pieces of silver in those days was a sizable fortune. Somebody says, well, that's a success story, sizable fortune. No, you don't understand. His name was Judas. It was not a success story. The money was, yes. The traitor Judas got the money. Doesn't that change the story? Of course. Interestingly enough, after Judas has his fortune in his hot little hand, he's unhappy. Somebody says, well, how could you be unhappy if you had a fortune? Well, he wasn't unhappy with the money. He was unhappy with himself. One of the best treasures to take home from my words today. The greatest source of unhappiness is self-unhappiness. It's not unhappiness that comes from the outside. It's unhappiness that comes from the inside. That's the greatest source of unhappiness. And here's where it starts like an infection so innocently, doing a little less than you could and not feeling quite that good about yourself. That's where it starts like an infection. And unless you pick up some disciplines to change that, I'm telling you, it could lead to the ultimate traitor, sell out, virtue, value. Judas said, I'm so unhappy, what'll I do? He said, oh, just take the money back. Took it back, and they said, heck with you, Judas. We don't want this money. We got what we wanted. You got what you wanted. And they threw him out. He said, what'll I do now? He said, oh, clever. Should have thought of this first. I'll just throw the money away. The story said he proceeded to throw his fortune away. Why would a man throw his fortune away? Because he was so unhappy with himself. Money doesn't mean anything if you've sold out, compromised your virtue and your principles and your values. Now Judas still can't erase what he's become, even though his fortune is gone. And the story said finally in desperation he went out and hung his worthless self. If he could speak back to us in any kind of clear language, here's what he might say. Beware. Two great words of antiquity. Here's the first one. Behold. That's the positive word. Behold. Can't you see? Behold. Take a look. Behold. That's the positive word. But here's the negative word of antiquity. What? Beware. Beware. And here's one of the most important bewares of your lifetime. Beware of what you become in pursuit of what you want. Beware that you don't become too little by setting too small goals. And beware that you don't sell out your virtue and your value for something you think is valuable. Setting goals. Tied to personal development. Once Shoaff unfolded this for me, I've never been the same since age 25. And if you'll go to work on this as seriously as I did, I'm telling you, you'll soon get hooked on the feeling, one, of personal development, feeling of pride, feeling of self-worth, long before the results start returning from these early disciplines. I'm telling you, once you walk this road, you'll never walk another road. You'll never be influenced by anyone else's philosophy. You'll never be influenced. You'll pick up ideas and information, you'll pick up advice, but you'll learn to give yourself orders, develop your own philosophy that'll guide your life through all of the storms and all of the winds, you and your family, safely, you and your enterprise, safely, no matter who's elected, no matter what goes on. I want this seminar to be that valuable for you to develop this kind of strength. Okay, the last part of the seminar, if you're ready, say, I'm ready. I'm ready. All right. I got two major subjects to cover here to finish up with. Here's the first one. It's negative. Here's the second one. It's positive. Two subjects to finish up with. The first one's negative and the second one is positive. A good way to wrap up a seminar like this today. Some negative and some positive. Let me first now give you some tips on negative that really helped me. So valuable for me. I think you'll appreciate these. Here's number one. Negative is normal. Boy, that was helpful for me. No, it wasn't weird to be negative. Negative is normal. Normal meaning it's a part of the human experience. And it's a part of all of our experience. All of us have this same experience, the negative side of life. So negative is normal. Now, negative is not successful. Right. But it is normal, meaning it's a part of the life experience. Here's number 2. Negative is not to be ignored. Negative is very real. As soon as you've planted the garden, the busy bugs and the noxious weeds are out to take it all.